imagine, just for a second, holding the entire architecture of the universe. The suns, the storms, the very foundational elements of nature, just right there in the palm of your hand.
Right, which sounds incredibly abstract.
It does. But then imagine that to successfully map all of that cosmic power, you actually have to rely on, and I'm not kidding here, the exact number of holes in a piece of deep-fried dough.
Yeah, it's such a wild juxtaposition.
It really is. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are so incredibly glad you're here joining us because you, our listeners, sent us this really fascinating stack of sources.
Yeah, it was a mix of translations of ancient Hindu texts, some scholarly articles on the Puranas and Smritis, and some really detailed personal notes, too.
Right. And our mission today is to basically decode all of that. We're going to explore this highly specific, kind of unbelievable intersection of cosmic timekeeping, spiritual mathematics, and, well, deep-fried sweets.
Which is just the best combination, honestly.
It really is. So the specific ritual detailed in the source text you provided, it's called Appupa.
Right. And to really understand it, we first, we kind of have to understand the canvas it happens on, right? Like when it takes place.
Okay, yeah.
Because this ritual is tied to a very specific astronomical period known as Adhika Maasa.
The leap month. I always find this part so fascinating because, you know, the Hindu calendar is lunisolar.
Exactly.
So a strictly lunar year is, what, about 354 days long?
Yeah, roughly. Which means it falls about 11 days short of the standard 365-day solar year.
Right. And if you just let that run, if you don't adjust it, your seasons would completely drift over time.
Oh, absolutely. You'd end up with winter festivals right in the middle of summer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to keep the lunar months aligned with the solar year, an extra, like, intercalary month is periodically added just to snap everything back into place.
It's basically a cosmic reset button.
Yeah, exactly. And that extra month is Adhika Maasa. And during this highly unusual period of, I guess you could call it found time, the texts detail this ritual giving of a specific sweet called an Appupa. So, okay, let's unpack this. Because going from the high-level astronomical concept of, you know, adjusting a lunisolar calendar directly down into a literal recipe provided in ancient scripture is, I mean, it's quite the journey.
It's a huge leap.
Yeah. So what exactly is the textual blueprint for this food? Like, what are they making?
Well, the texts are actually extremely uncompromising about the culinary details here. So in languages like Kannada and Tulu, this sweet dish is generally known as an appa.
Okay.
But the ancient scriptures, they don't leave the ingredients open to the chef's interpretation, right? Like you can't just use whatever happens to be sitting in the pantry.
No improvising.
Exactly, no improvising. They mandate 3 very specific components. First, it must be made of rice flour. Second, it must contain jaggery, which the text refers to as gouda. And third, it absolutely must be fried in ghee, which is referred to as sarpas.
Rice flour, jaggery, and ghee. I mean, if you look at that from an anthropological perspective, that isn't just like a random assortment of calories.
No, not at all.
Those are apex agricultural products. You have to cultivate the grain, you have to process the sugar cane, and you have to churn and clarify the dairy.
Right, you're taking the highest yields of an agrarian civilization and basically concentrating them down into this one single offering.
Yes. But, okay, here is the detail from the translated text that absolutely stopped me in my tracks.
The holes.
The holes. The text literally says, and I'm quoting here, the number of holes in the donated Appupa equals the thousands of years the donor will be honored in heaven.
Yeah, it's wild. The Sanskrit term for holes here is chidra.
Chidra.
Right.
So the belief system of the text literally translates a geometric void in your pastry into millennia of heavenly reward.
It really is a stunning translation of physical form into spiritual currency. Like, the text posits this exact one-to-one correlation between a culinary feature and the duration of the soul's experience in Svargaloka, or heaven.
Like a cosmic punch card.
That's a perfect way to put it.
But looking at the notes you sent over, there's a massive logistical problem here.
Oh, yeah. The Tulunadu issue.
Right. The source text highlights this completely practical, almost comedic local hurdle. Because in regions like Tulunadu, the traditional local sweet, the appa, it doesn't have holes.
Right. Historically, it's just a solid, round fritter.
So if the local sweets don't have holes, but the cosmic reward strictly requires them, How do they solve this theological baking crisis? I mean, did they just start arbitrarily poking holes in their traditional food?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the text reveals this really deep integration of highly abstract scriptural demands with everyday practical cultural adaptations.
Okay, how so?
Because they didn't alter their traditional appa, but they also didn't ignore the scripture either.
Wait, really? How do they manage both?
Well, the local practitioners, they understood the mandate, right? They knew the belief system required the chidra, the holes, to secure that promised heavenly outcome.
Right.
So the text actually notes that they pivoted to a totally different specific kind of sweet called an athirasa.
Ooh. I looked this up in the stack of sources when I was reading through. An atharasa is described almost like a small sweet pop pad, right?
It is, yeah. And crucially, the atharasa naturally features the necessary holes just as part of its standard everyday preparation.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Right. So by swapping out the solid fritter for the atharasa, they comply perfectly with the ancient decree without having to artificially alter a different cultural recipe.
It's like this amazing moment of human ingenuity navigating divine law. They just found the exact right local pastry for the scriptural job.
Exactly.
So, okay, we've solved the physical problem of the holes, but as I kept reading through the translation of the Puranas, I quickly realized that securing the correct sweet is like barely the beginning.
Oh, it's just step one.
Yeah. The geometry of how you actually present it is where the real cosmological math begins. Because you aren't just, baking a batch of these atharasas and handing them out to your neighbors in a basket.
No, far from it. The physical requirements of the actual donation are deliberately exacting. It's designed to force this state of really profound mindfulness.
Right.
So according to the text, you must place exactly 33 of these atharasas in a very specific type of vessel. It has to be a bronze vessel, a kanchapatre.
Okay, 33 sweets, bronze vessel.
Then you have to place a smaller, completely separate vessel filled with ghee right on top of those sweets.
Wow. Yeah.
And you're not done. You also must include a gift of gold, which is known as hiranya dakshina. And finally, this entire heavily prescribed package must be presented to a vipra, a Brahmin.
See, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the number 33, it isn't arbitrary at all.
Not even a little bit.
Right. The text dives into this massive, intensely complex list of divine pairings connected to this specific number. Like when the practitioner is gathering these 33 sweets and they're measuring out the gold and handing over the bronze bowl, what is cognitively happening in their mind during all of this?
They're literally mentally constructing the entire universe.
That is so intense.
It is. The source material, which is drawing heavily from the Padma Purana here, it provides this comprehensive blueprint of how reality is categorized during this specific ritual.
Okay.
So while making the donation, the practitioner is actively meditating on 33 specific deities. And each of those deities is carefully paired with one of 33 forms of Bhagavan, the divine.
It's like this intense dual meditation.
Exactly.
Let's actually break down that architecture a bit, because it's not just a random list of 33 names pulled out of a hat.
Yeah.
There is a very distinct philosophical progression to what they are building in this bronze bowl.
Yeah, it's very structured. So it begins with the fundamental building blocks of reality, which are the 8 vasus.
Okay, the vases.
Right. Think of the vasus as the raw elements of nature. So earth, wind, fire, space, light.
The foundational stuff.
Exactly. And the text lists them starting with Drona, Dhruva, Dosha, Arka, Agni, Dumna Prana, and Vipavasu. And by explicitly naming them, the practitioner is symbolically putting the raw materials of the universe straight into the offering. And remember the pairings.
Yeah, each element is paired with a specific form of Vishnu.
Yes. So Drona is paired with Vishnu, Dhruva is paired with Jishnu, Dosha with Mahavishnu, and they move meticulously through all 8 like that.
Okay, so you have the matter, the raw materials, but raw material alone, it doesn't do anything by itself. It needs energy. And I think that brings us to the next group in the text, the 11 Rudras.
Exactly. So if the vasus are the matter, the Rudras are the kinetic energy.
I love that framing.
Yeah, they represent these fierce, roaring, transformative forces of the cosmos, which are often associated with storms and radical change.
Okay.
The text names them Bhima, Raivata, Oja, Ajaikapat, and so on, and then pairs them with forms like Rama, Achyuta, Purushottama, Govinda.
So by doing that, you are literally holding the destructive and transformative power of nature right in your mind.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's keep a tally here. We have 8 Vasus and 11 Rudras. That puts us at 19.
Right.
We have matter, And we have energy. But for a universe to actually function, you need time and order.
Which introduces the 12 Adityas. These
Right.
are the solar deities. They represent the organizing principles of time, the months of the year, and the life-giving properties of the sun.
Right.
The text lists Vivasman paired with Trivikrama, Aryama with Vasudeva, Pushan with Jagadyoni, and it moves right through Tavashta, Savita, Bhaga, Datta, all 12 of them.
Okay. Doing the math again. 8 Vasus, 11 Rudras, and 12 Adityas brings us to 31.
Right.
But we still need 2 more to hit that magic number of 33 for our 33 specific suites.
Right. And the final 2 really complete the entire conceptual loop here. The 32nd is the Vashatkara deity, which is paired with Agardana.
And what does that represent?
That represents the power of ritual invocation itself.
Oh, wow. It's like meta-ritual.
It really is. And then the 33rd is the Prajapati deity, paired with Shripati, representing the ultimate creator and progenitor of all life.
That is staggering.
Right. By chanting these specific shlokas, the donor is doing something massive. They are taking the entire cosmological structure, the elements, the storms, the suns, the creators, and mapping them precisely onto 33 rice flower sweets sitting in a bronze bowl.
The microcosm of the bowl perfectly mirrors the macrocosm of the universe.
Exactly.
And according to the belief system outlined in the text, there is a very tangible result promised for holding this massive cosmological architecture in your mind while you give the gift.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just for, spiritual points.
Right. The text explicitly states that reciting these names and giving the 23 Appupas brings immense wealth, a thriving lineage. I think the Sanskrit phrase used in our sources is putra putradi santatim.
Yes, which roughly translates to a lineage of children and grandchildren.
Right.
And the underlying psychological and cultural utility of this promise, it's really all about continuity.
Continuity, right.
Yeah, think about the overarching theme here. The leap month of Adhika Maasa is fundamentally about ensuring the calendar continues to align, ensuring the seasons fall at the right time so the crops don't fail, right?
Oh, wow. So in parallel, this highly structured ritual is about ensuring the continuous prosperous alignment of your own family line through the generations.
Exactly. It's bringing that cosmic continuity down to the family level.
I completely understand the philosophical beauty of it, but reading through these translations, I really have to admit, my modern brain has thrown up some major logistical red flags.
I can imagine. It's a lot.
It is, because doing this 33 deity dual invocation, right, with 33 gold-top bronze bowls, with basically an endless supply of sweets fried in pure ghee, doing that every single day of the leap month just seems completely impossible.
Yeah.
Like, I am struggling to see how an ancient farmer or just an average citizen actually manages this, who has 30 bronze bowls and 30 pieces of gold just sitting around to give away.
Well, the short answer is almost nobody. It would be a monumental undertaking, both financially and in terms of just the daily cognitive load.
Right.
But the ancient texts are actually highly pragmatic about human limitation.
Okay.
Yeah, the scripture itself offers a grace period. It openly acknowledges that if daily donation is simply unfeasible, which for most it was, doing the ritual on specific, highly significant days yields the exact same extraordinary results.
Wait, really? But if the intention and the intense meditation are what really matter, why does the universe care if I do this on a random Tuesday versus, like, a full moon? Are these specific lunar phases acting like some kind of amplifier for the ritual?
That is exactly what they're doing. They act as a cosmic amplifier.
Oh, okay. Let's dig into that.
Well, remember, this entire extra month only exists to reconcile the friction between the lunar and solar cycles.
Right, it's snapback we talked about earlier.
Exactly. So the text highlights days that are the absolute apex nodes of those planetary cycles. For instance, it points to the 2 Dodashis.
Which are the 12th lunar days of both the waxing and waning moon phases, right?
Yes. And it heavily emphasizes Purnima, which is the full moon, and Amavasya, the new moon, also Krishna Chaturdashi. By performing the ritual on these days, you align your personal action with the most potent gravitational and symbolic moments of the calendar you're celebrating.
The text also mentions a couple of terms that I actually needed to look up in the glossary of our sources. Vyatapada and Vaidriti.
Right. Those are highly specific astrological alignments.
Okay, what do they mean?
Well, they occur when the declination of the sun and the moon are virtually identical. This creates what astrologers historically view as a sort of intense energetic friction or an anomaly.
An anomaly.
Yeah. The text basically views these rare, mathematically precise moments in the sky as windows where the spiritual veil is thinnest.
So basically, if you cannot afford the daily marathon of giving gold and bronze bowls every day, you just aim for the cosmic sprint during these mathematically optimal windows.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the timing is so crucial because the ritual is entirely governed by the sankalpa, which is the core intention.
The intention, right?
The text details a really strict purification protocol before the giving even happens. The donor must perform akamana, which is the ritual sipping of water for internal purification,
Okay.
and pranayama, which is the deliberate control of the breath.
So it's like a physiological reset.
Yes.
You're intentionally slowing your heart rate and physically clearing your mind before you even touch the bronze bowl.
Exactly. And once the physical body is still, the practitioner then performs the Deshakala Sankirtana.
And that's where they declare the time and place, right?
Yes. The individual must verbally declare the exact time and a place where the ritual is occurring. They are verbally anchoring this incredibly abstract cosmic act in their specific present reality.
Right.
They're saying, I am here on this specific geographical soil, on this specific day, in this specific cycle of the moon, offering this.
It is essentially a spiritual timestamp.
Yeah.
You are logging the exact coordinates of your generosity right into the framework of the universe.
Beautifully said.
And honestly, that brings us to the final moments of the ritual, which completely upended my understanding of this entire text.
The ending is quite the twist.
It really is. Because up until now, this entire process has been entirely about accumulation.
Right.
You're accumulating gold, you're accumulating 33 perfectly fried sweets, you're accumulating the complex names of 33 deities in your head,
Right.
and you're accumulating the promise of thousands of years in heaven.
Yeah, it's very acquisition heavy.
But the ending of the ritual goes in the exact opposite direction.
Because the final act is one of radical, completely uncompromising letting go.
Yes. So the text described the recitation of the Appupa mantra. The donor speaks directly to the sun god, recognizing him in the form of Vishnu, who is explicitly described here as the destroyer of all sins. And the donor asks that this gift of food wipe away their own worldly sins.
So what does this all mean? Like, after all of this intense, incredibly costly preparation, what is the actual core philosophy driving this act?
The core philosophy is basically distilled into the very final phrase spoken to the recipient, the vipra.
Okay.
As the practitioner physically hands over the bronze bowl, they say, Amukha namakoham, tuhyam sampragade namama.
And the translation for that is?
Translated, it means, I, named so-and-so, give this to you, it is not mine.
No, Mama, it is not mine.
Right? Just consider the massive effort required to reach that single breath.
It's staggering.
The financial expense of the gold and the bronze, the physical labor of cultivating the ingredients and frying the 33 atharasas in pure ghee,
Yeah.
the intense mental focus to accurately map the 8 Vasas, the 11 Rudras, the 12 Adityas, and the remaining deities onto the offering. And after all of that ownership, all of that, I built this. The ultimate goal of the entire ritual is to sever your attachment to it.
You hand over the universe you just built and you declare, not mine.
It is so profound. You do all the work, you literally build this perfect miniature universe in a bowl, and then you intentionally break your own ego's connection to it.
Exactly.
The text notes that this final blessing is dedicated to Madhvapati Gopalakrishna. And the philosophy seems to be that you perform the action, you do the work, but you have absolutely no claim to the fruits of that action. They belong to the divine.
It really functions as the ultimate antidote to human ego.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend the vast majority of our lives trying to acquire things, right? To put our name on our achievements, to hoard credit and wealth and status.
Accumulating.
Always. But the Appupa ritual, it forces the practitioner to gather immense material and spiritual value, hold it in their hands, and then actively practice the incredibly difficult muscle of giving it away completely.
It really takes something as overwhelmingly vast as cosmic time, an entire intercalary month added just to balance the heavens, and the staggering universal geometry of the 33 deities that make up reality.
Yeah.
And it distills all of that abstract vastness into the highly tangible act of just making sure your deep-fried dough has holes in it.
Right.
And then after all that, giving it all away to a stranger.
It is a remarkable textual bridge between the infinite cosmos and the intimate everyday reality of a human kitchen.
It truly is. Well, as we wrap up today's deep dive, I really want to leave you, our listeners, with a thought inspired by this incredible stack of sources you sent us.
It's a good one to mull over.
We've spent this time talking about Adhika Maasa, this extra month inserted just to fix a glitch in cosmic timekeeping. And it makes you wonder, if we were given an intercalary month today in our modern lives, like a true, unexpected leap month of found time that existed completely outside our normal, stressful calendar year, what would you actually do with it? Would your first instinct be to spend that month accumulating more things, more wealth, more achievements? Or would you use that found time to practice the radical art of letting go? Think about it. Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today. We've loved decoding these sources with you, and we promise we'll be back with more fascinating explorations next time.